I think what's happening here is, first of all, with the Ten of Pentacles being the overall, we're talking about needing to get to a place here where you feel like you are absolutely secure with this relationship. The Ten of Pentacles, though, for me, can also show, when you're dealing with another person, how is your security and stability going to be affected by dealing with another person? That, or, they're looking at the same thing. But either way, we're talking about, wanting to kind of get to this place. Now, this for a lot of you could already be about a relationship that, you have been in for a long time. There was a lot built with this, but there's still that need to get back to where you feel absolutely secure. So the way that you come into this is with the Sun. Looking at the Hermit on their side, I think that for you, all of a sudden, everything becomes clear about why they have taken a distance from you. Now there's understanding. And I think that for them, whatever was going on, they really needed to take a look at, what they were really wanting out of everything, because the Hermit is really, besides the soul searching, is looking at the 1 through 9. This is everything that I've done, everything that I have to show for that. What have I learned from this? And what did I initially want to begin with? And I think that they needed to really take a step back to figure that out. But you are in the know on this, so to speak. So you're seeing everything. But it's also about, them, I think, kind of like coming out of this. I mean, definitely with the Ace of Pentacles. And you now seeing that, there may be something better ahead. So then you have, the 9 of Cups. And this is exactly what you wanted. And that's kind of how I see that. The new beginning. But I think that it's coming on their side. I don't think that, this is what I want here. Let's have this new beginning. And they're trying to look at it. I really think that we're talking about somebody who is wanting a second chance with you. And I say that because of the Wheel of Fortune. But the Ace of Pentacles, is good here because, especially coming out of Hermit mode, this shows that, this person that you're dealing with is seeing that we have to be realistic and practical about, where we want to be in the long run, where we want to be in the future, but also wanting something that's going to be, long lasting. I always look at the Ten of Pentacles, like, especially in relationships, we're going to grow old together and change each other's diapers. That's where we're headed, But this is something that you want with the 9 of Cups. This is what's going to make you happy. This is what you wanted to begin with. Now, you, though, in staying with being practical about everything, are showing the 8 of Pentacles is saying that you realize that there's going to be a lot of hard work ahead. The 8 of Pentacles isn't exactly great when it comes to relationship readings or love readings. It's not super bad, but that's a lot of hard work. A lot of hard work that needs to be done. But I really think that for them, they think with the Wheel of Fortune that, this situation can turn around, so to speak. The problem is that you move into this place where if they're wanting a second chance and you're putting in all the hard work, you may be being left out on some things. But I think that this is also going to have to do with what may have happened in the past. There's still I don't know. I'm not understanding. But I think that looking at the 5 of Cups, for them, I think that they regret it. I think that they regret some of the things that they may have done that caused, a separation between the two of you, because that's kind of how I see the Hermit. They took a distance from you. But it's because they needed to figure their own shit out. But the problem is that the past is going to come back up in a way where I think that for you, I almost feel more angry than emotionally upset over the fact that you weren't a part of what was going on, or that you didn't know, or they just kind of left you. I don't think that this is something that you're looking at in future conditions. I think that this is something that you're looking to understand. Now, on the other hand, you may be putting in all this effort. They're wanting this second chance and they're wanting things to turn around. But you, because of the past coming back up, may feel like, son of a bitch, I put in all this hard work and I have nothing. But I look at this and I think this one very specifically, I love the Six of Cups because it shows these are the places you've already been. So why is it coming back up? Why are we needing to go back to the past? Why are we needing to look at these places again? And the problem is that you already come in with the Sun. Like, you should have already understood this. But maybe you only understood this from their perspective because what you wanted was to have a new beginning. But maybe the full extent of what you don't know is going to be made known here in future conditions. And then the Two of Wands. I think that for you, you're going to get to a place where you're going to have to make a choice here to act toward continuing this, or act toward where I think you are going to be a little bit more stable and secure for yourself almost. Oh man. Okay, so let's get into this. With the Five of Pentacles, the first thing that you're showing is the Four of Wands. So you're getting there. You're getting to a place of stability, but it's almost like the brakes are being put on and it's like, wait a minute. I just lost something in this. And I think that they regret the actions that they took. The Queen of Pentacles. I think that for some of you, the Queen of Pentacles for me is like, if that's how they're looking at you like you don't need them. And you don't need them for a reason. And that reason is going to come out in a way that I think is going to have to do with a third party. Whether or not that Queen of Pentacles is a third party, I'm not sure. I look at that though, and I think that for you, especially in connection to the Four of Wands, they see you doing all the work, getting everything built back up, and you're okay, but then all of a sudden something comes out and you're like, what did I give? What did I give that I can't get back now? Why did I do this? That's what I'm feeling from this. But I do think that they're looking at you like you don't need them. But I also look at that as the past is going to bring about something that you felt insecure about in the first place. And again, we're talking about feeling secure in the relationship here. So, and I'm just kind of like looking at the details that are leading up to this. But I understand now why we're looking at the Five of Cups, because I would be hurt too. Now, the Moon and the King of Cups, this, I think, is the person that you're dealing with. And I think that there is, definitely this part of them here that is trying to become more emotionally available. So, male, female, water, doesn't matter to me here. But with the Moon, their back and forth, I think, is going to be a problem, because you're going to be putting in all this effort to try to, change the circumstances here. But they don't know what the hell they want. And for you, you're caught up in this kind of like illusion that they're casting on you, because they're doing the I feel and the emotional communication and, trying to put it off that they are emotionally in control. But the past comes up in a way with the Page of Swords reversed, where it's not what you expected. It's not something that you want to hear. Definitely could be about an outside influence, instigator, somebody coming through that's going to give you this kind of information that is meant to hurt what is going on with you and this person. And there are definitely some things that, they are not being very clear and open and honest about. They're not, the illusion is being cast over the past. Okay. Now, with the Two of Wands, when that information kind of comes out with this Page of Swords, I think that for a lot of you, it's like, okay, so what do I do now? Especially given the fact that your perspective on it is going to be, what have I given that I can't get back now? What have I lost in this? But I don't like that Page of Swords, because I do think that for a lot of you, it's going to be somebody looking to infiltrate or instigate something that really, could have been avoided here if things were clear. If this person had made everything clear, but clearly that's not their intention. And that's my problem. But the fact that you're showing the Two of Wands, she's looking at that skull trying to figure it out. It's like her crystal ball. Like, okay, If I take this course of action, where is that ultimately going to lead me? Or do I continue with this, even though you may feel like, there's something that can't be gained back? And that's how I feel about this Five of Pentacles in this situation. And let me take a breath and explain all of this. I think that this is how you were with someone from the past. And I think that the strength that needs to be had here for you is to, kind of like not get involved because this person isn't going to give you what you want. Because I think that this is something that you've already experienced. But I do think that there was, the classic kind of romance with this person. And I do think that for a lot of you, this is a feeling of true love with them. But I do look at the Magician and think that, they or you feel like they have the ability to make something happen here again. Because I look at this as past, present and future here. But like I said, with strength in the Six of Pentacles, there's a reason why you're needing to kind of like find the strength and the courage here to not get involved. And that's how I feel about this, only because of the Six of Pentacles. You don't want to be put in a situation where a person is ignoring you or not giving you what you need. And then you move into this place of the Empress, where I think that for a lot of you, it's like, I'm good on my own. That's kind of what I feel like with her. You look great. You look good. I think that there may be a lot of things that are available to you. You don't necessarily have to get involved with this person. There may be, this kind of like true love. Like, yeah, this person may have been like the love of my life, but I don't want to get involved with them again if I'm not going to get what I want, or if I feel like I'm going to be ignored, or if there's going to be some kind of like lack, like I need your attention. You can't, give me this beautiful relationship, but then like go in and out. That's kind of how I feel about that. It's like, oh my God, I met this person. We have, such a great relationship. And, it's like this fairy tale romance and everything is great, but then you get into a place where you realize that they just kind of like aren't involved with you, or not wanting to be involved with you all the time. So you move into a place where, I don't know, I haven't heard from them for a couple of days. I don't know, we haven't gotten to spend time together. And you don't want to be in that place. You don't want to be in a relationship like that. But the Two of Cups, though, it makes me wonder if we're talking about you getting involved in a different relationship and not wanting to do this again. Or if this is the same relationship and the connection is just, it's something that you want, right? But I have to be honest, the Empress and the Magician to me feel like two different things here. I don't feel like you're being, the temptress, so to speak, right? Like trying to tempt this person to, give you what you want. I think that this is you, like, I'm good on my own. I feel okay on my own. I don't necessarily need this. But again, with true love being there, it's like this relationship can't be ignored, especially the way that you come into it. I think that this is separate. I think that this has to do with the other person thinking that they can make something happen. And then Temperance, yeah. So there is definitely, I think, a part of you that's like wanting more, but temperance in this case is really about like trying to build the passion within the relationship, right? The connection is obviously there. But I think for you, there is no rush this time. Like there's no rush to do this, I think that, and again, going back to strength, there is a part of you that's like trying to kind of like hold off. Like, what, you really want to try to come back and do this? I don't know. I don't know that this is what I want. I don't know that you can give me what I need. So there is really no rush here. I think that for you, you may be trying to kind of like keep your options open, but this may be difficult for you because of true love and there being true love. And what I mean here is that I really do feel like with the Empress, with the Empress, you've worked into a place where you feel good about yourself. And, anything is open and available to you. Why should, you get involved with this again, other than the fact that, you know, there's the connection there. What I don't like here is the Ten of Wands. That's where I'm like, that's a little bit fucked up. That bothers me. It's almost like I think that some of you are dealing with a situation where, you know, you had that kind of relationship where like, oh, it's so great, right? And like, I could see you telling people about this, like, this is a romance that I didn't think that, you know, was possible here. But the truth is, with the Ten of Wands, that, you know, it just ended up being a here and gone situation. And that's kind of what I feel like with this. Because I always look at the Ten of Wands as I'm looking to relieve pressure, and that's it. It's not really about moving any further than that, because you're already at a 10. It's like two people that hook up and then that's it. But for you, your perspective was, this was, you know, a romance that was something that was special to you. You know, so I do think that this person kind of comes back around. I think that for you, that there's, you know, this need to really hold on to your inner strength, because it took a lot for you to get back to a place where you felt good about you. But there is no rush here. There's no rush. But Temperance can be saying, though, that things are starting to build between you and this person again. But I think it's only because they're coming back around. But what I will say is that I question their intentions here. And that's just me. All right. I actually think that what's happening here is you're needing to trust that everything is kind of like okay in the relationship. I think that for some of you, you may be having a hard time because something has changed. I almost look at the Six of Wands as you are like involved with a person where you're constantly like not playing games. I don't think that this is about playing games in this situation. I think that it's, you know, hey, can I have your attention? Please, I want your attention here. But with death being there, something has changed within the relationship, right? So death to me, and I always say this too, even with, you know, normal readings, death is not about, you know, the ending of everything. It's about an ending of certain aspects of what is going on, in order to get back to stability, because we're looking at a 13, not a 10, but it's definitely saying that something in what you're dealing with has come to an end in a way where it's not going to go back to what it was. So somebody has changed. Something has, you know, changed for somebody in this relationship. But I don't think that it's, you know, because they're wanting to end the relationship, or that, you know, their feelings have ended. I just think that they have changed in a way, if that makes sense. Because you're still like, please, you know, I'm here. I want some attention. And like, I can get that. And I say that though too, because with the Four of Pentacles, right? Like you're trying, but somebody is just not in it. You know, which makes me curious as to what has changed here. But looking at the Eight of Wands, the times that you do connect with this person, you savor those moments, right? But, you know, I almost look at this as, you know, I want more. But because of, you know, how hard it is to get things going with this person, it's like, you know, I savor all of these moments that we have together. But you are needing to trust that everything is okay. So I look at that with the Ten of Pentacles and think that this is otherwise, you know, a good situation, but this is really about self-reflection in the way that you see yourself in the relationship, right? Especially if you're questioning on whether or not you can trust the person that you're with. And then the Fool, you know, but I don't think that that's you moving away from the relationship. I think that for a lot of you, it's like moving on to a different phase of the relationship. A lot of times the Fool can show that, you know, you're going, I'm moving on now. I'm moving away from deceit. I'm moving away from certain things. But I think that you're moving away from issues of trust, if that makes sense. And I do think that for you, you're walking a very different path in your relationship now compared to what it used to be. But it's because I think that the other person is having a problem. But I do think that it's directly affecting you. Because with the King of Wands, whether you're male or female here, when we're looking at Sagittarius, you know, this makes sense to me. Very, very passionate, very loving. You know, there is you know, the physical love, but there's also the understanding and, you know, the comfort. That's what I see with the King of Wands, especially in terms of Sagittarius. But, you know, I don't doubt that there is the same kind of feeling with that person. I don't think that that's what died and changed, you know, because there's still the relationship happening here. It's just changing. You know, death doesn't always have to be a bad thing, right? But looking at the Four of Cups, though, you're talking about routine. Getting into a place where there's constantly the same thing happening day in and day out, day in and day out. You're wanting some attention from this person. You may not exactly be getting it, and you may feel like I try and I try, but I don't get a response with that Four of Pentacles. But the thing is when you do, there are always really good moments with that Eight of Wands. But I feel the feeling of needing more. But with the Ace of Swords, I think that that's where, you know, again, the trust is kind of like coming back here, because you do still have these moments with this person. But for some of you, you may be taking a look at yourself and going, I need to move on. But the thing that throws me off on this is you're trusting, you're learning to trust. I don't think it's about you leaving this relationship and going to the next. I think that you're going with the change now. I think that that is what the Fool is about.